Hello and welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Sarah and I post about anti-MLM and scams. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe, like this video, perhaps leave a comment. I really appreciate it. Today we are going to do reactions of just one event. So rather than doing reactions to multiple different MLMs and just things I come across on social media, this is going to be reactions of multiple things that were posted before, during, and after MONAT's Passport Trip that just happened in early November 2024. They sold this on the illusion of being an all expenses paid free vacation, and the content that they shared, I mean, the beach there looks absolutely incredible. Tulum looks beautiful. Did I mention that? It was held in Tulum, Mexico. So a lot of like beaches, relaxation, time by the pool, as well as events that they had to attend, time in the boardroom. It was relentlessly shared about as though it was a free vacation. But like, it wasn't. They were in a boardroom at some point. I don't do that on vacation. And they were posting about the business opportunity constantly, doing live videos talking about it, getting together to promote this luxury lifestyle, this trip that they got to go on for free, all the other trips that they get to go on for free. And for me, I know that there are some people that like to share their lives regularly and throughout the day on social media. So maybe for other people, this isn't as big of a, for a vacation. But for me, like, there's just no way. Like, that doesn't look like a free vacation to me. It looks like you went on a business trip that looks nice. I mean, plenty of people go on business trips that are really nice, but like, they call it a business trip. They don't call it an all expenses paid vacation. Like, if you have to go to work while you're there, or if you feel an obligation to go to work while you're there, that doesn't feel like a vacation, right? It is such a classic MLM tactic of like selling you on this idea of an all expenses paid getaway. But once you're there, it's like, this is your schedule. These are the places that you need to be. You need to still be recruiting. You need to still be promoting the product. And again, maybe when I say you need to be doing this, they would say their rebuttal to that would be like, we don't need to do it. But like, if you want to keep your rank, you kind of need to keep doing it. And the trips themselves are just like what feels like for me like a marketing ploy. They're designed to keep everyone, either the people that were invited or the people that are watching, to keep them motivated by showcasing what's possible in the business. We are going to dig into it to see the many strings attached to this luxury vacation that some of the reps went on. So these first two videos use the same audio, and it's reps that are fake crying and kind of throwing shade at people who call their business opportunity a pyramid scheme. So basically saying that their work got them this trip, and how funny it is that people will say, oh, it's a scam, it's a pyramid scheme, yet they're the ones that are on this beautiful vacation. This is the next one. The reel says, crying on our all expense paid trip because someone told us we were in a pyramid scheme. And then it kind of just pans over a bunch of reps who are, like I said, fake crying. So to read the caption of one of them, it says, an earned trip from selling shampoo. It's 2024, and if you still think network marketing is a pyramid scheme, it's time to rethink that. Network marketing is a direct selling model that cuts out the middleman, like grocery stores, delivering products directly to consumers, also called DTC or direct to customer. All right, this is kind of where it gets messy. Of course, direct to consumer is a popular selling model, but comparing direct to consumer to an MLM, it feels like a big stretch. In regular direct to consumer selling models, consumers buy a product because they want the product and there aren't strings attached. But in MLMs like MONAT, a lot of the people buying the products are the reps themselves. Or it's people that are maybe interested in just the product, but then they're being pushed into being VIP subscribers. And that feels a lot different than someone who is just buying a product because they simply want it. The caption then goes on to say, many companies are shifting to this model because it's more profitable, and network marketing is no different. With MONAT, you can actually earn in 8 different ways, even though you can make amazing money just by selling. Just to clarify, pyramid schemes don't involve real products sold to customers. In fact, 80% of our revenue comes from customers buying shampoo. And this is where we get into this 80% stat, which MONAT will regularly share. Like I mentioned previously, a lot of the sales are coming from the reps themselves, not just genuine consumers who are interested in buying their shampoo. And the reps do this because they have to hit certain ranks to stay active. So they buy the products to hit those ranks to stay active within the company. So when they say customers, it is not as straightforward as that. And those numbers we have to think are likely very inflated, if not super inflated. Think about recruiters in sports or job fairs at universities where starting salaries are often a fraction of what CEOs make. If the corporate path works for you, that's fantastic, but let's get rid of the idea that network marketing is a pyramid scheme just because it's different. No matter where you work, success requires effort. So this corporate comparison comes up often, but breaking it down, in a corporate job, you get a set salary, clear job descriptions. You know when you're going to get paid. And the salary doesn't require that you have people below you or that you are buying the company's product just so that you can get paid. If you're a recruiter, your job is solely recruiting. And if you're in sales, your job is sales, and you're paid for it directly with a salary or even a commission structure that doesn't require a buy-in or a personal investment. Starting salaries are often a fraction of what CEOs make. This happens often that MLM reps will use this line as some sort of like gotcha moment. But in MLMs, it's not just about the starting income. It's the fact that most people, no matter how long that they've been in the business, will never see the amount of money that the people on the top make. In a regular job, even if you're not on top, you are still paid fairly for the role that you are in. And further to that, the major difference that I want to point out here is that in a corporate job, you're not relentlessly sold on the idea that you could make what the CEO makes. And that there's not this illusion of that everyone is on the same playing field, which feeds this endless cycle of guilt with reps that they think, well, there are people that are making the salary of a CEO. I could do that. If I just work harder, if I just maybe dig in deeper, I could potentially make that CEO salary. Whereas in a corporate job, people don't feel that way for the most part. In an MLM, they sell it as this dream that's within reach for everyone when only a very tiny fraction of people will ever reach that rank. Plus, in a corporate job, you are not recruiting friends and family to join your corporate job. And that is the big part of where I feel these comparisons don't hold up. It's not just about the income gap between an average worker in a corporate structure and the CEO. It's the fact that MLMs push the burden to buy the products onto the reps, to recruit constantly and to keep the company afloat, which is not how traditional companies operate. She goes on to say, to put it in perspective, what are the chances you'll ever make more than the CEO, your manager, or your supervisor? In network marketing, it's a level playing field. Anyone can earn more than anyone else, and you can 100% make more than the person who brings you in. I do. Sorry. Does it take work? 100%. But is it worth it? Absolutely. The level playing field part, it's just not true. It sounds great and it makes it sound fair, but it's an illusion. Theoretically, sure, anyone could make more than the person that brought them in, but the reality is, the facts show that most people in MLMs don't. The majority of the income is at the top, and the reps are constantly recruiting to replace the people who have dropped out. I think that if the playing field was actually level, we wouldn't see as much turnover. And again, to bring this back to before I even started reacting this one, they are posting this while on vacation. They're still endlessly working to sell this business opportunity while they're on vacation. I hope that was an okay place to start and just kind of gives you a feel for the vibe of these trips, and I don't mean to particularly pick on MONAT. It's just like I said, that this trip just happened, and the reps post often, so it's like we have no choice but to kind of watch it happen. But I do want to actually talk about this particular trip, what it took to qualify for the specific reps that are there. The trip was not open invitation. You had to meet a certain rank to be able to be invited. And then from that point, there were 3 different tiers, depending on what MONAT would agree to pay for you to attend the trip. Reps needed to reach the rank of Managing Market Builder, which they will sometimes call MMB. This rank, as you can see, is no small feat to achieve. To qualify, reps need 4 active lines, each with at least 1 market partner at a rank of Managing Market Partner or higher, plus a group volume of 3,500 and a personal volume of 200. Hello, Editing Sarah here. I realized that I was reading off I think, old compensation plan, so ignore those numbers that you just heard because the ones on the screen here are the correct ones. So I'm going to read those. Let's see. Okay. So as of January 1, 2024, the compensation plan has actually been made a little bit more challenging to reach the rank of MMB. So personal volume is actually 500, still 4 active lines. Group volume is 5,000 now, PV. And the structure requirement is 2 MMPs below you, which MMP is Managing Market Partner. There are so many acronyms. Okay, head on back. And what I find funny is that it seems quite difficult to achieve the rank of MMB. The rank itself doesn't equate to, like, on average, a high earning. According to MONAT's own income disclosure, only about 0.87% of inactive and active reps make it to this level. And at this rank, MMBs earn an average of $10,439 annually with a median, which is important to look at the median, of $7,746, which that feels like a long way away from financial freedom. I want to really drive this point home. That is an annual salary of average $10,439 with a median of $7,746. The reason I'm saying that the median is more important than the average is that it removes the outliers. The average income can be inflated by those very few high earners within that rank, which makes it seem like earnings are higher across the board. But just those small number of people that are the higher earners within that rank can really bring up the average. So we want to make sure that when we're reviewing these ranks and reviewing income disclosure statements from MLMs, that we do consider the median. The median shows the midpoint, which will give us a better understanding and a better idea of what the majority of the people within that rank are actually making versus the average, which, like I said, is going to take those people who are those few higher earners and kind of drive up that average amount. Whereas if we're looking at the median, it's quite literally, if you laid them all out, all the people within that rank, who is the middle amount, and that will give us a better idea, which is, as you can see, with this average versus median for this rank, I guess that's, more significant. What is that? Like, so 7,700, I'm not going to do math on camera, versus 10,000, so what is that? Is that like a little over $2,500 difference? So still, when we're considering only $7,700 per year versus $10,400 approximately, that extra $2,500-ish would be nice. I hope that makes sense. And I want to get better at being able to describe income disclosure statements because, first off, I find them quite interesting to be able to actually look at set numbers that the company is disclosing to people, whether that be the public who are interested in the anti-MLM movement, and also to potential reps. So I want to get better at being able to verbalize that. So again, I really hope that what I just said did make sense, and I'll practice being able to kind of describe those numbers to you better. Back to the actual trips qualifications, and I am going to be reading off of my screen here so that I can make sure that I'm saying these things right. All right, so here is the document from MONAT saying, how do I qualify for Passport 2024? And it gives this chart, and the qualification period was February 1st through July 31st, 2024. And it has these 3 tiers, like I mentioned, and we will break these down so we can get a better understanding of who was actually invited to attend this trip. We'll start with Tier 1, and the requirements are personal sponsor, 5 MPs, 13 VIPs, personal group sponsor of 10 MPs, 30 VIPs, group volume 50,000 GV, and paid as rank on last qualification month, paid as MMB plus in July. I totally understand if you're like, what are you saying? That is a lot of acronyms. Let's break it down. Personal sponsor for Tier 1, 5 MPs and 13 VIPs. The personal sponsorship refers to the number of market partners, which are other reps, and VIP customers that each rep personally recruited. And I'm going to read this. For example, to qualify at Tier 1, reps needed to directly recruit 5 new market partners and enroll 13 VIP customers. The personal group sponsor, this metric isn't just about the qualifying reps' efforts, but also their entire downline's efforts. So if a rep's downline collectively recruited 10 new market partners and signed on 30 VIP customers, they would meet that Tier 1 group's requirement. Okay, so essentially qualifying reps were expected to recruit directly and then also have their teams do the same. And the requirements ramp up throughout each tier, and the prizes associated with those tiers also increase. Based on that information I just gave you, we're not going to go through exactly everything that Tier 2 and 3 say, but as you can see and as you can imagine, the tiers, as they increase, they are required to do more recruiting. Now, I want to move on to the awards. I'm sorry, I think before I said prize. Awards. Tier 1 is a hotel for 1, all-inclusive meal for 1, airfare for 1, ground transfers to and from resort on program travel dates only. Now, as you go to Tier 2, hotel for 2, all-inclusive meal package for 2, airfare for 1, ground transfers to and from resort. Tier 3, hotel for 2, all-inclusive meal package for 2, airfare for 2, ground transfers to and from resort. MONAT did foot the bill for certain aspects of the trip, but the extent of what they covered was based on what tier that you qualified for. So I hope that I made that clear by putting that on the screen, is that at least the person that's there, the rep that was invited, they did seem to get a fully paid trip for themselves. But if they say, I brought my husband with me, my partner with me, my parent, whoever, depending on what tier that they met, the requirement that they met, their award was different. Now, I want to talk about the out-of-pocket costs that are associated with this. And the reason that I bring it up is to not sometimes I'm like, oh, am I being unfair? Like, this does look to be a trip that actually was paid for, whereas in other companies or other trips that MLMs will host, it's not all paid for, and the reps will kind of allude to that. I do think it's important to mention exactly what they say they will not cover, because when you compare it to like a corporate job or a traditional job, when you're traveling for work, they're usually going to pay for these things. Things like meals and incidental expenses while you're in transit, any excursions or activities outside the specific trip schedule, parking and transportation to the airport, and baggage fees. The other ones I could see you having to pay for maybe, or you'd get like a meal stipend. But the parking, transportation to the airport, and baggage fees, I haven't worked in a traditional job in a really long time, so I guess I can't say for sure, but I would imagine that you would just maybe pay for it yourself and then submit your receipt, and then HR or whatever department would reimburse you. I don't know, you guys can tell me, but I assume that if you're being required to go on a work trip, they're gonna front the bill for the expenses. And then if there are travel delays or misconnections, that's on you. I really do want to go back to the personal sponsor versus group sponsor. I find it really interesting in MLMs how they'll do this and structure these sort of incentives, where it makes sure that the reps that are at the top do still have to directly recruit. You can't solely assume your downline is going to get those new reps and that's all going to go towards the incentive trips. It really does fuel this never-ending need to recruit. So when they say like, work hard for a few years and then let your business just run in the background. It's not necessarily true if you do want to take part in these incentive trips. It does seem like there is this personal sponsor requirement that does need for you to be the direct recruiter. It just feels like it's encouraging this constant recruiting, which is like peak MLM. And the part that I really wanted to talk about, which I feel like either A, maybe the reps don't understand, or B, they're just not going to share, is the income tax associated with trips like this. They cover this in their passport document, and it says, the question is, am I responsible for income tax attributable for this trip? Attributable. That's a hard word to say. Answer, qualifiers attending Passport 2024 will be solely responsible for income taxes attributable to the non-cash compensation as a result of MONAT paying for incentive trips and other non-cash awards. In certain instances, the value of this incentive trip may be reported to the tax authorities in your jurisdiction in accordance with the country's applicable tax law. The full value of these trips, hotel, meals, flights, is counted as taxable income. MONAT will report the trip to the IRS, so then reps will more than likely receive a 1099, which is a form that contractors, because they're contractors, not small business owners, will get when they have made a certain amount of money that they need to submit as part of their tax documentation. So when they receive this 1099 form for the trip's value, they're on the hook to pay taxes for it. So I want to just fully say that in a traditional job, you wouldn't have to front that money. You would not have to report that to the IRS and pay taxes on a work trip that you went on. Those trips are designed to make sure the employees can focus on work or whatever reason that they're on this trip and not the expenses associated with it. But with MLMs, in so many instances, these hidden costs just go right back on the reps, which is just an added financial strain to add to the long list of them. I guess this is all to say that this reward can come with a price that can hit hard, especially when tax season rolls around. All right, we're gonna move on to a live video that was shared with 3 MONAT reps while they were there. And I apologize, I'm gonna try to clean up the audio. I'm still kind of new to doing that, but they're sitting outside and they have these like 2 mics, I guess. I don't know what I was trying to say there. They have these 2 mics and it's picking up a lot of wind, and frankly, it's kind of hard to listen to at points, but I really did want to include it because I feel like it really takes the whole, for me, it is a vibe of the attitude that these reps have, especially the ones that earn these incentives, and the way that they will talk to people who are maybe considering the business opportunity or people that just solely follow them on social media. And for me, it isn't a great way to sell. Like, I watch these things and I'm like, is this working on anyone? I feel like they do this confusing thing where it'll be one moment they're sharing how incredible the trip is, and then the next moment it's kind of like it's like a lot of judgment and them fighting back on the haters, because that's what you are. Someone like me, I would be probably considered a hater because I'm questioning the business model. I'm questioning the reps' actions. And I should have maybe said this to begin with, but this is kind of why I blur the faces of the people in the videos, is it's not about the reps themselves. It's about the business model and sort of what it turns reps into. It is not so much about the people in the business. I mean, sometimes, sure, there's probably bad apples and people who are being more scammy. I just think it's so interesting to see the change that is often happening once you're in an MLM and the things that you'll do to build out your business, to sell the products or what have you. Okay, so that was a long way of introing this video. Let's get to it.
Guys, I have my 2 Aussie friends. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. We are in the Tulum. She's like, hello. Already making me laugh. We're in Tulum. Can you guys imagine? You guys travel how many hours? 25 hours. 30 hours. Wow. Thank you for the commitment. Erica here is crushing it. Marcia over here is crushing it. You're in which city? I'm in Queensland, Gold Coast. Perth, Western Australia. Beautiful. I'm in Miami. Boring. We want to. She's holding it. We want to talk about the 1% because I think we get a lot of ish talkers when it comes to only the top of only the top people make money in our company. And when people say that to me, I'm like, yeah, tell us.
It's fair. It's a fair statement to make, and I just think that when it comes to network marketing, like we throw around what type of network marketing, digital sales, direct selling, what else? MLM. What we're in is sales, and what we have to understand, and everybody has to understand, is that sales is not for everybody. Sales is a skill. Sales is something that you learn, and I didn't come to this as a salesperson.
Same.
I came into this as a dreamer, as someone who wanted more for my life. I realized not a lot of people understand sales, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. And just because someone doesn't understand sales, it doesn't make it a scam. Okay, it makes you misinformed, or maybe you don't understand yet, and that's okay.
Yeah, and on sales, like sometimes I think people, as soon as people hear sales, they like tune out. They're like, "Ooh, I'm not a salesperson." Here's the thing: like, it is a skill that everyone must possess. Yeah. So we need to have it. It's like if businesses don't make sales, you don't have a business. Yeah. So why do we make it feel yucky? Like, it is a natural part of business exchange. Yeah. And so either you can benefit from it and your family can benefit from it, or you can keep yourself stuck for the rest of your life. So it's a skill that we all need to have in some capacity.
100%.
I love that. And I do think that women are the best salespeople in the entire world.
Because we know how to talk.
And we know how to get what we want.
And we get excited about sharing things that we love, that we're obsessed with.
And women started this industry. If we really go back and study the industry, it's not even 100 years old, maybe a little bit over that. Yeah, and it started with women selling Tupperware because we were the users. So we genuinely got excited that this Tupperware was going to make our life easier, and we didn't have to, like, cook every day. We could, like, have the leftovers and have the family eat. Like, that's how I picture, MLM, how it started. And it started with this parties, and it was something genuine to help other women.
Yeah, and it came from a really pure place.
Totally. Yeah. And it empowered women in a way to, let's just on the Tupperware example, is like they were homemakers back then, which I support, and I'm with that. That's why I align so well with MONAT, because it empowers women to have that time flexibility and financial flexibility where not only the guy is bringing the income, but they were selling their Tupperware as a side hustle, and then they can have money for the hat that they want to buy, the dress that they want to buy, or help the husband if the husband gets sick. Like, there are so many benefits from this industry that I feel like people like to almost demonize it and attack it and hate it so much. When someone does that, I'm like, are you so in the dark that you cannot see all of the happiness and delight that this brings? Yes, let's circle back to the 1%. Yeah. It does bring a lot of freaking abundance to the 1% because with everything in the world, there is that 1% of people that are willing to work, are willing to learn skills like sales, are willing to get out of their comfort zone. And look at us, like, I would have never met these girls if it wasn't for this industry, so.
There, I wanted to kind of let them get started with where they were going, and then we kind of got off on a tangent, which I do not begrudge them of. I have to use a script because otherwise I do the same thing. So she said in the very beginning, and then they just circled back to it, is that they're going to own the 1% stat. And what she's referring to there is what the FTC says is that under 1% of people in MLMs will make an income, meaning that 99% of people in MLMs will either not make any money or they will lose money. And I was trying to understand what the argument was here. Like, I didn't know if it was their way of being like, we know we're that 1%. Like, it felt very like, yes, we are that 1%. Not everyone can do it. And then she went on to say, what was it? It was something like only 1% are willing to work. And I was like, got it. So she assumes that the 99% of people that fail, what they would consider failing in an MLM, is that they were not willing to work, which we just know to not be true. There are so many people that go into this business, MONAT or otherwise, of the dream. They were sold on this dream of these all expenses paid vacations, trips, what have you, the luxury vehicles, the money, big houses, big dreams. 99% of those people just weren't willing to work. I just frankly think that we can say with certainty that that's not true. And further than that is wildly condescending. It dismisses everyone who didn't succeed. And I think it's a big reason as to why people get stuck in the rut of MLMs, whether it be in their own company or when one company doesn't work, they jump to another one, is because they don't want to be seen as a failure. I know for me, that would make me very insecure to know that if I didn't make that top 1%, that I would be known to those people who are high earners as someone who isn't willing to work when I believe that those people who are in that 99% were willing to work. They worked their business. I don't know how hard they worked it, but that's a pretty staggering statistic. And they're saying that they're owning it, but I think this is a long-winded way of me saying I don't know what point we're trying to prove here, because they'll then move into the conversation, which we will soon see, about them then recruiting. So I guess it's maybe trying to recruit people who have that, I hesitate to say like a superiority complex of like, I could also be in the 1%, or maybe for some people it is motivating. To me, as a viewer, I'm like, frankly, kind of blown away that they would come on here and do this while they're also on this trip that they have promoted, shared endlessly on social media. I hope I'm making sense here. When I was watching this live video and they were talking about this, and she had said in the beginning about that owning the 1% statistic, and then she kind of like glossed over it. I was like, okay, I didn't really know what that was exactly referring to. I didn't want to make any assumptions. And then she even says, we're going to come back to that. And then furthers that statement by saying only 1% are willing to work. I think that the exact quote is something along the lines of 1% succeed because they're the only ones willing to work and get out of their comfort zone, which is like, no, like that's just not accurate.
Yeah, and it really is okay if it's not for everybody else, but if you're not good at sales, that doesn't make the company a bad thing. It doesn't make the industry a bad thing. It just means it's not for you. Or if you're not willing to learn those skills, that's on you. And I think like in network marketing, I've been around for 6 years. How many? Same. 6 years? 3 years. That's something that we see constantly, is a lot of people leave and blame a company or blame the industry and never take accountability.
Okay, I'm going to pause it again. Sorry for pausing it so quickly, but I felt like that was a very loaded couple of statements that we need to talk about. So now they're just saying, if you're not good at sales, this isn't for you, and if you fail, it's your fault. Am I right? They're consistently brushing aside that most people in MLMs struggle, and it's not because they didn't try to learn sales, because no matter how good of sales skills you have, doesn't change the structure of the business model. And I really want to drive home that pushing this accountability narrative onto people who quit doesn't make the industry any better. Because if it were truly sustainable, we wouldn't see people constantly leaving in droves.
Nobody has ever blamed their products because their products are amazing.
No.
They can't trash.
Not possible. Impossible to blame
the product.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, I have to address this. If you're still new to learning about MLMs, and MONAT is one that you're not super familiar with, like, we have to say that line of no one has ever blamed the products is like, I almost feel like she was kind of saying it like as a dig, because quite literally, a lot of people have blamed the products. If you're not familiar, there is some legal action related to the products of people saying that MONAT shampoo allegedly has made their hair fall out. It's just like misleading. And if you're gonna make that claim, at least acknowledge the issues that have come up. I don't know. Again, I do feel like she was kind of just saying it in passing, but it was like an odd statement to make, and was definitely one where I heard it and I was like, that. It's almost like the one thing that people do know about MONAT is because it is so like current to these like legal actions that are happening. And it is, I guess, well known for people who know about MLMs, I guess, that like it has been alleged that it does cause hair loss and scalp issues. So again, maybe I'm kind of just being nitpicky at this point, but I was like, why are we even saying that? When like it just instantly is like, how am I supposed to believe anything else you're saying when you're so blatantly being crass about things like that? Does that make sense?
Like, it's so funny. But, you know, to each their own. They're, like, something I can say to people that you've been thinking about MONAT or any other, honestly, network marketing company is that you need to align with products that are, 1, consumable, and 2, that you are actually going to be excited to use every day.
And 3, unmatched.
Yes, which we have premium products.
Oh, unmatched.
And our pay plan is truly the top pay plan out there. So if you're a money person, if you're a numbers girl, go look at pay plans from different companies. And also go look at how many people are making a lot of money.
Yeah.
If you're a numbers girl, like literally go to people's income disclosure statements from the company.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to see what's the most the top income earners are making.
Yeah.
And if you're a numbers girl, you're going to go with MONAT.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not going to like bring up like multiple companies' income disclosure statements, as she was saying. I understand the point that she's making of like, if you're going to compare across the board, perhaps, and this is something that I definitely think is a good thing to look into. It would be good for my own knowledge. But just offhand, I found it really funny that she was like, it wasn't like, go look at our income disclosure statement. It's incredible and you're going to be blown away and you're going to know that you should join this business because most people are successful. It was, go look at the income disclosure statements of other companies. And I think that that's so funny because like, are we just comparing just a lot of failing business models? Like, it's just, maybe MONAT's is better. Again, that's something that I want to like learn more about, and I'm going to not like that. Maybe that'll be my next little project, is to get a whole bunch of different income disclosure statements from multiple companies and kind of compare them. But for the purpose of MONAT's income disclosure, even if it is the best, we'll pull it up here. This is from 2023 and 2024, and we see, I'm just gonna go to the 2024 one. At the lowest rank, which is market partner, the percent of active and inactive USA market partners at this rank in 2023 is 94.6. High annual gross earnings, 12,878. Low annual gross earnings, 0, which we can assume is inactive market partners. Average annual gross earnings, 63, median 0. Average monthly gross earnings, 13. Okay, that's the lowest rank. Let's just kind of like go to the middle. Like we were talking about MMB before. 0.61% of inactive and active reps are at this rank. High annual gross earnings, 82,735. Low annual gross earnings, 636. Average, 5,841. Median. Okay, remember this is where we want to focus. $4,614 is the median annual gross earnings for this rank that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th highest rank in the company. Average monthly gross earnings, $1,168. At what point do you get to a point like where it is a livable income in the United States? So I think that it's clear that only a tiny fraction of reps make a livable income. Just that phrase of like, check the numbers if you're a numbers girl, or however she put it, is like, okay, I will. Just, they don't look great. They don't look great.
I also want to touch on something that is a criticism of network marketing, is that, you know, the average income, like what people make per year. And I think it's so important to know that our products are the bomb. And sometimes people say to me like, Mars, like, can I, what's the biggest discount I can get? I'm like, well, you can become a VIP or you can become a market partner. Yeah. And they want to become a market partner because they're going to essentially get like wholesale price. So there's a huge cohort of people who sign up just to get the benefit of the cheaper products. And we're, you know, they have every right to do that. So we're not going to stop them. We'll say, okay, but that's going to impact our numbers. So the people that are actually working are certainly making money. Like nobody would be doing this if they weren't making money. Like it just doesn't, it's not logical to think that someone would continue to do something where they're making no money. We are making money here. Yeah. And whatever the numbers are in terms of like the lowest income, that's someone who bought the products just for themselves, and that's it.
Okay, so I feel like this particular rep is like relatively prepared for the common defense that anti-MLMers will put up, is this like, well, when we're looking at the numbers, you tell us to look at the numbers. I almost feel like when that other rep said that, like, you know, look at the numbers, she maybe in her head was like, if they do look at the numbers, they're going to see that they aren't great. So she is taking into account that in MONAT's income disclosure statement, they include both, as you can see, they include both active and inactive US market partners. And for me, I feel like that's like a strategic decision, is that they can include the inactive as a way to be like, to do exactly what she just did. There are so many people that sign up because they just want the discount. You know, they are not there to grow the business. They're solely there. They're not going to sell products. They just want to get a discount on their own products. So I think that by MONAT choosing to put active and inactive in their income disclosure statement is so that they can be ready and prepared to make this argument that this rep made.
And I love that you brought that up because I was literally just thinking about like our compensation plan and statistically how it looks, how the numbers look at the entry level. But that's what's so beautiful is that anybody can access this business model. I graduated high school, I didn't go to university, I don't have like degrees and stuff like that.
Same.
I wasn't thriving after a career. I wanted something that was going to give me time flexibility, that was going to allow me to be a stay-at-home mom, that was going to allow me to break specific cycles in my life, but that had to start with an opportunity that was going to allow me to have flexibility. And this is accessible to everyone, as long as you're 18 and over, to everyone. So when they come in, a lot of people learn along the way that maybe they're not the best at sales, but they know how to share it every now and then with somebody.
How to use it.
Yeah. And if you learn, the more you learn to share it more, the more successful you become. So when we're in the process of like helping women start their business, it's because we literally want to duplicate the blessing that has been brought into our life onto other people because we get it. We know that there are people out there who want more money, want more time flexibility, want to be present moms, want to be the housemakers. Like, you know, that's just the reality. But what opportunity out there, what job out there is going to empower a woman to do all those things and then be in Mexico with their bestie?
Yeah, I love that. And what I love is that you shared, like, you came from a certain place, and I came from a different place. And I followed that path that everybody says that you're supposed to do. I went and got multiple business degrees. I was in the corporate world. And guess what? I still chose this. So when we say, like, oh, network marketing targets vulnerable women, la, 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 no, it literally speaks to the feminine because we want a different life. We want something different. I can go and get a job tomorrow if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that because I like the lifestyle that this industry can give me.
Yeah.
I'm here with some of the most inspiring women I have ever met.
I know.
It is
It's a crab. It's a crab.
Oh my gosh, there's a crab. I get to be around the most uplifting women, and the reality is most of us will go home, and the environments that we're in are not as inspiring as this. So, hello, like, I'm going to choose this again and again, this option over having alternative options. So it's not that women are desperate, and no, this actually speaks to how we want to work in this world.
And I just also want to add something like that statement about, oh, targeting vulnerable people. Nobody's twisting your arm to sign up here. You make a conscious choice to sign up to this business. You're not signing a contract or anything. Like, you can jump in, you can leave. Nobody's holding something to your head.
Yeah. And also,
All right. I'm trying to be like more neutral, but I just, again, don't know what marketing tactic is happening here with this condescension. The quote, nobody is forcing you. It just doesn't, for me, come across well. It just sounds bitter. It's like, what is the purpose of this live video? I almost feel like sometimes reps will just be like, I need to go live, so I'm just going to come on and I'm going to word vomit all these things that I have heard from people about why they don't want to join the business opportunity, and I'm just going to fight back on those things. And I think that one woman is trying to maybe combat that. She keeps kind of bringing it back to like her own personal experience and about the business. And then there's this constant back and forth of then being like, well, then no one's forcing you to do it. You know, talking about the income disclosure, like all that kind of stuff. It just is like, what's the plan here, and what recruitment strategy are we trying to use to actually get people interested in this business opportunity? I know I'm only speaking for myself, but for me, it's just not landing. It just doesn't make this business opportunity for me seem appealing. Like, if it was so great, why do they often need to say things like this, that no one's forcing you, no one's pulling your arm, you can come, you can leave? You know, I just feel like it's just, maybe it's because I've watched so many of these kinds of videos where I'm just like, it's like the oversaturation of hearing the same thing over and over again. It just is like, I don't get it. I don't understand what tactic is happening here and who it's resonating with.
even like, I've seen women come in super shy, that they might look vulnerable. Okay, they come in shy, insecure. I was one of them.
Wow.
I didn't want to put myself, out there. And this business has given me so much personal growth that I probably looked like a vulnerable girl that didn't know what to do. And so what? Like, I surrounded myself with women that were making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I saw that it was possible. So even going back to our, pay plan and the average income, still look at it and, like, you will see how much money people are making. Like, the highest, I think it's like $2 or $3 million on our average income for the top income earners. There's no company out there that has produced the amount of millionaires that we have Okay, we're only 10 years old. We made over 100 millionaires. I don't even know how many $5 million. Like, it's
Did she say $2 to $3 million average? Okay, I have to play that again.
I think it's like $2-3 million on our average income for the top income earners. There's no company out there that has produced the amount of millionaires that we have. Okay, we're only 10 years old. We made over 100 millionaires. I don't even know how many $5 million. Like, it's 4, 5, 6.
Okay, I'm not. Maybe she was saying two different things there. That what the highest person. I think that maybe is maybe what she meant. That the person with the highest sales is maybe making. I don't really know because I'm looking at the income disclosure statement from 2020, the 2024 income statement, which is about 2023, and average the highest on here for the senior executive director. Man, some of these rank names are senior executive director. It's such a mouthful. Here. Okay, high annual gross earnings is $655,518. So not 2 to 3 million, but maybe she just misspoke. I'm not entirely sure what she was trying to say there.
There's no company out there that has produced the amount of millionaires that we have.
So I'm going to stop it again there. She says no company has made as many millionaires as us, and then talks about the $1 Million Club and the $5 million earners. I guess the point that I want to make here is that for a company that's been around for 10 years, having $1 million earners is like, I guess, to be expected. So having 100 actually seems like a low number. And for context, the $1 Million Club in MONAT is people who have made $1 million in commissions throughout the time that they've been in the company. It's not that they've made $1 million in the most recent year or that they are, quote, millionaires. It just means that they've made $1 million since the time that they joined MONAT. They like to bring up this statistic often, how many people are in the $1 Million Club, and I guess I want to just reiterate that they've been in business for 10 years, and having about $100 million company members is maybe not as impressive as they think it is. I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. Just to me, though, 10 years, 100 in the $1 Million Club, I'd be like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. And the one thing that we also just can't gloss over is the fact that there's no discussion on how much that those reps have had to spend to get to that point.
So we just wanted to come on here. Thank you, ladies, for coming on and sharing your journey, because it's different cultures, different backgrounds, different beliefs maybe at some point. But when you come into a community that we align, do you guys feel like this trip was so aligning?
Oh my God, the best thing ever.
Everyone has the same message. We want to empower women in the right way. We don't want you to be a super strong, independent woman, F everybody else.
No.
It doesn't work in this business.
I need my husband.
Yes, same. So I love that we have that really sane, healthy culture for women, but at the same...
What is... The audio is so hard to hear. I went back and re-listened, and this is kind of what I got from that. It's, we want to empower women, but not to be like everyone else. We want to empower women in the right way. We don't want you to be super strong. We don't want you to be a super strong, independent woman like everybody else. What? I felt like she was saying that independence isn't... I almost feel like the one rep was saying one thing and the other one took it differently. So maybe it was just like a miss... She just misspoke. But I was like, wait, you want strong, independent women to join the company, but then you also, need your husband? I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too far into this, but I, heard that, and I don't know the point that they were trying to make there.
We're treating our husband... You brought your dad, which is so sweet. She brought her dad... Yes, on this free trip. I brought my husband. Dan is coming to the next one. And it feels so good that we get to do that for them. So we want strong women. We're not praying for vulnerable women. Whoever is spreading that message truly doesn't understand. We're not even mad. We're just you don't understand. You haven't done...
We're just setting the facts straight.
Yeah. And they're facts. They're statistics that don't lie. And so just do the right research. I came into MONAT at a very interesting time with the company, but thank God that I was able to see the light and not the darkness. And I'm here in Tulum. I met you, and we just want to help more women. So Thank you, ladies. Anything else you want to add?
That was amazing. Join us next year.
Yeah, you could be here.
Literally, it's such a blessing.
Okay, I'm going to end it there. I guess what I got from that live is that they wanted to... The goal was to address the very common MLM criticisms brought up by people like yours truly. But they didn't actually address them. Like the things that it didn't feel like they were addressed in a way that I feel like gave a concrete reassurance, especially when it started with like blame the people, like you know, the 99%, they're the ones that fail, they didn't work hard enough, like it's just like the same things. And I guess another reason why I wanted to include this is it's just like, aren't you tired? Like, don't you feel tired of constantly trying to convince people that the business that you're in is not a scheme, that it's not a scam? I just want to be like, go to bed. Like, aren't you so tired? I feel like I would be so mentally drained and so mentally exhausted by consistently feeling the need to come on my social media channels and just talk to whoever will listen about why the way that I make money is not a scheme, when the stats show otherwise. All right, this next one is a reel from a MONAT rep who's at least at the rank of market mentor. At least I assume that, because she recently shared that she qualified for their car program. Now, if we look at the income disclosure statement, market mentor is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 7th highest rank. And it says that as of 2023, active and inactive US market partners at this rank was 0.16% of all market partners. Kind of a small amount. Now, the reel is, again, condescending and is about the common response that people who are likely politely declining and don't know how to maybe say, like, no, thank you, I don't want to be in your MLM, that they will say, I need to ask my husband. And it's kind of her making a joke of that while she's on this all expenses paid trip to Tulum at MONAT Passport. As you can likely see where I'm coming from this, that's like, it is such a valid reason to need to talk to your spouse, significant other, partner in life before making a financial decision, especially one like, to them, opening a business and being the owner of a business, which we know that they're not, they're contractors. But regardless, I feel like I tell my husband like how my coffee was that day. Like, if I'm gonna tell him every like meaningless moment of my day-to-day, I probably should also mention that I'm gonna spend some money to get a starter kit and join a business opportunity. It just feels like, again, they just know all of the common reasons as to why people will say no to them, and they just have to always be on the defense. And that's why I say again, like, aren't you so tired? Like, I just cannot fathom getting to a mindset where I have to poke fun at people who say, I need to talk to my husband. Okay, so the caption of the video says, if I would have asked, we would not be here right now. The truth is, you don't ask to drop $149 at Ulta or $199 at Target. Are those specific? I'm gonna check that. That feels like very specific amounts of money. So, starter cost. Oh my gosh, I can't type. MONAT. 149. Okay, retail customer, VIP customer, market partners. So this says market partners sell products and earn commissions plus 30% off retail, requires a starter kit purchase starting at $99. Okay, starting at. There we go. Let's see. So she says 149 or 199. Oh my god, I'm totally gonna get cookied for this. I just clicked join now. Oh, what have I done? Okay, here we go. Starter packs. See? I knew it. I don't know why I didn't notice that when I first watched this. It just was like 149 and 199 is like so oddly specific. Like, you don't have to ask about $149 or $199. Like, and we see custom light product pack, $149. Custom combo product pack is $199. Going back to that, I just wanted to make, I was curious, and the curiosity was correct. But when you tell yourself you need to ask your husband, what you are really saying is that you either don't believe in the opportunity, don't believe in the product, or don't believe in yourself. This part is so manipulative and just like, it feels rude. It just feels so loaded and pretty manipulative for like a way to approach someone's decision-making process. Like, some people might just genuinely not believe in the business opportunity. They might not believe in the products, or they just don't see this business model as something that they want in their life. I also do feel like I glossed over the fact that she said you don't need to ask about spending $149 or $199 at Ulta and Target respectively. I feel like I would maybe run that by my husband, and like, it kind of feels like there's some privilege seeping out there of like, that's just not a lot of money. That's a lot of money to like a lot of people. That's a lot of money to me. Like, spending $149 or $199 is not something that I commonly do. And I would absolutely feel like I would need to get my husband in the loop on that. Again, though, maybe I don't speak for everyone, because I just literally word vomit to him all day long about like random thoughts that go through my head. And like, I'm going to stop and get this like $6 latte. So if I'm going to mention that to him, I will also be like, hey, I'm about to drop $150, $200. She goes on to say, if you know me and you've been watching for a while, you know the opportunity is real, and I've watched the growth that someone with no hair experience can have as part of this company. I guess this kind of assumes that her audience has been watching her and that they don't know the other side of the coin. The income disclosure, the low success rate, the extremely high turnover in these companies. And I want to say again that she's at market mentor rank, if not higher. So she's at a level that only 0.16% of reps will ever achieve based on MONAT's own income disclosure statement. So I feel like she's trying to make it look achievable when the numbers don't lie. But what most people struggle with is their belief in themselves. Sometimes they feel deep down that they are not cut out for success, and sometimes they feel like change is hard and are afraid of failure. Now, it feels like she's kind of shifting the blame onto people who might be hesitant. And maybe I'm wrong in saying that, but it just sort of was like alluding to like lack of self-belief or like the fear of failure. But it just isn't always about self-doubt for people. A lot of people are quite capable and confident. They're just skeptical of the MLM business model because they may now be aware that many reps make very little money. It just feels like she's dismissing this concern by saying, oh, it's just because you're afraid of failing, which is just a very, again, classic MLM tactic to deflect real criticism. But 100% of the time, hindsight is 20/20, and I can tell you, I now fear the risk of staying the same as I was 4 years ago. Best piece of advice, just try the shampoo. If you love it and could use the extra money, earn trips abroad in a luxury car, I can show you how. Okay, the just try the shampoo line. She's kind of alluding to the fact that just trying the shampoo will lead to all of these luxuries, the car, the trips, the other incentives, the money. But she's, again, at market mentor rank, which is a level that so few reps actually achieve. It's just not as simple as just try the shampoo. It involves recruiting, building an active downline, and making consistent sales. And I didn't even mention the fact that these trips and other bonuses are usually only achievable if you achieve and maintain that rank month after month. Overall, I just feel like this reel is just another attempt at guilting people into joining. And it like perpetuates this idea that if you don't join, it's simply because you don't believe in yourself. Like, that's a you thing. It's not an us thing. It's not the fact that this business opportunity fails reps over and over and over again. It's a you problem that you need to work on. I just am like, the audacity. They use this like quote unquote personal growth to make you feel like saying no means that there's something wrong with you, instead of maybe just like accepting the fact that no, not everyone wants to join your shampoo MLM. And like, again, sometimes people just use that line of like, I need to talk to my husband as just a way to like politely get around having to say no to you. Now on to some of the growth statistics that MONAT shared at the Passport event. And I know this might seem like a little less intriguing, a little less entertaining, but I think it's really important to look at these statistics. And I want to first say, to preface this, I only saw a few people sharing like a photo of what they took of the screen, and I couldn't find other clips, so I don't have a full picture. I would like to say that I assume that they shared their stats from multiple countries, but before I get into it, I have stats for Asia Pacific and Australia, and then just some news about Germany. Is that all I have? So as you likely notice, I don't have anything to reference for the US. If you saw anyone share, or if you have access to what they put in their presentation about the growth in the US market of MONAT, I would love to see that. They are highlighting for Asia Pacific that they had 30 car achievers, 9 directors, 17 members of their 100K club in the Asia Pacific region. I'm gonna zoom in here. Can I do this? Okay. So first off, I was like, what is this asterisk for? It just says results may vary, see income disclosure statement. Please see the income disclosure statement. But I want to talk about this slide over here that she posted that says MONAT Asia Pacific region, 4.3 billion people, 60% of global population, 40% of global sales and direct selling. And I want to break that down because I feel like it was very purposeful that they put those numbers in there to kind of show like this new market we're getting into. There's so much room for growth based on the high population, the people that are interested in direct sales there. All right, so the first number I want to address is the 60% of the global population. So based on what I saw, that actually is an accurate statistic. Please correct if I'm wrong or they're wrong, but let's just assume that that's correct. But that, based again on what I saw, includes children, the elderly, and people who are, quite frankly, not interested in this business opportunity or the products. So I think that what they're trying to do is make it sound like MONAT has access to this endless pool of potential customers and potential recruits, but that's just not realistic. Because again, that number includes people who quite literally cannot join the business opportunity. As of the US, you have to be 18 years or older. And like also there's just people who just don't want to join your shampoo MLM. And you will see if you start looking at this kind of stuff that this is a tactic that MLMs will use. They'll use these broad terms, population size, things like this to make it seem like the market is quite literally limitless and packed with endless opportunity. But the reality is that only a fraction of those people within that population are eligible or are interested. The 40% of global sales in direct selling. Based on what I've read, this is accurate, and that the Asia Pacific market is actually pretty big for direct selling. But what I think matters is that MONAT is kind of banking on cultural acceptance of direct sales to fuel this recruitment. It just sounds like they're kind of saying, everyone is already doing this here, so this is a great fit for us. But what they're not saying is that this market is likely highly competitive, and they're entering a space that already has direct competition, and the regulations could potentially be tight in some of those countries, which would limit what they're able to do. It just seems like they're framing this region as some sort of gold mine, but that's likely not accurate. Now, as for these like early successes that they listed, the car qualifiers, the directors, the people in the 100K club, they're obviously, understandably, trying to make it seem like this new division is thriving. But I think it's important that we put those numbers in perspective, at least the way that I took them to mean, in the massive population that they said that they're targeting. Just this handful of people reaching these ranks and qualifications isn't as impressive as maybe they thought it would be. Like if you really dig into it and you look at those numbers of that population and the people that are interested in direct selling that they put in the presentation, seeing the 30 car qualifiers, 9 directors, the people in the 100K club, it's like, that's not that many people, right? I think it's just a way to like obviously spin it as this amazing opportunity and a way to like convince potential recruits like this is the time to get in. This is the time to join in on the business opportunity because look at this massive market that we're already making waves in. It's like we can't, again, gloss over the fact that achieving those ranks isn't easy. And for most of the people in MLMs, they'll just likely never reach those ranks. It's just not realistic. It's just, again, this incessant need to create this illusion of success, to keep the reps interested, to continue to try to recruit people into the business opportunity, where it's like, if you really take a second to look at it and think about it, it's just like, is this actually going as well as you're alluding it to? I want to talk about these like growth markers. So based on my understanding is that this will commonly happen in MLMs. They'll start in one market, like MONAT starting in the US, and then they kind of expand from there, going to Australia, to Canada, or they will continue to grow, and they sell it as like, we're expanding, we're this massive, like we're going to be a worldwide company. But again, if you kind of look at it and think about it on a more, what's the term? I don't know, more critically, you may see that the reason that they're doing it is like they likely already saturated one market. So like, we got to go to a different country to get new people, because everyone around here is either in the business opportunity, they've been recruited to be in the business opportunity, and they've said no, they've bought the products, they like the products, they don't like the products, whatever. So at some point, you're just gonna run out of people. And that's like the classic move of MLMs, is that they will enter this fresh market, recruit heavily, and then they promote all that recruitment and the people that got in early to keep that momentum going. All right, now there's two stories from two different reps. MONAT Australia and A State of Momentum, and then it's year-over-year growth. So for 2023, it says 45% growth, and then in 2024, 82% growth. The other one is from a different rep, saying that there are 1,700K club achievers. I cannot say that. 1,700K club achievers. So then the text on the screen says 17 women so far have earned over 150,000, I'm assuming that's Australian dollars, or $150,000 in Australia in the last 3 years, with many more imminent. They're just basically trying to share that Australia is like the new hotspot for this company. And I found it really interesting as I was kind of compiling and watching everyone share and post about the trip. There were a lot of Aussie reps that traveled some like 20 plus hours. I think one person said it was like a 30-hour trip from Australia to Mexico to come to this trip. And the thing is like, these numbers are, I guess, likely to be expected when a company like this MLM comes into a new market. They do have this like massive growth the first couple of years, and then like we saw with MONAT in 2020 time in the US, like it grew really big, and then it just kind of started like a steady decline, is that they've saturated the market. So I guess we can't say that I can't say that I'm like seriously surprised to see that they've had growth in Australia. They opened there, I believe that the market launched there in like 2021. It's currently 2024 when I'm recording this, and that's what those numbers are based on, is 2023 to 2024. So for me, it wasn't like that surprising, but it's important to then again highlight that once that early wave passes and it does become more of a saturated market, it becomes a lot harder to keep reps engaged. So I'm assuming, I'm just guessing that we're going to see the same pattern in Australia that we saw in the US, where it was this big growth, and then it's going to, maybe plateau, but maybe it'll just be a downward spiral, if you will. The last thing that I saw was coming soon to Germany, keep your eyes out, and it says MONAT Germany. Biggest direct selling market in Europe, top 3 worldwide with 17 billion annually. What is I maybe should have double checked. I don't know how to understand. Top 3 what worldwide with $17 billion annually? Customers value transparency, quality, and sustainability, strong interest in natural ingredients, gig economy trend. And then it just says March 2025. Yeah, watch out, Germany. Please watch out. I guess I don't really have anything major to add that I haven't already said. They found this market. They think it's amazing. They're going to come there. They're going to grow. It's going to be the plateau or the decline. Same story, different market. Now, as I kind of said in the beginning, why am I not finding any of the US stats? It could just be because I wasn't following the right people, but I looked in multiple different places. Granted, there was like some of the higher up reps that were there from the US, they didn't share any of the presentations as far as I saw. Again, happy to be corrected. Would be even happier to get things sent to me if you have them. But I was trying to like pay close attention over the last few days to see if they would post anything of like the photos of the US stats like they did for Australia and the Asia Pacific market, but I couldn't find anything, which I don't know, a little suspicious maybe? I don't know, just me. I just feel like if it was booming, we'd know and they would be gushing about it, like as they were about basically every other positive facet of the trip. And the fact that they didn't show that feels like something. All right, I hope you're still with me. We have two clips, two separate prayer circles that happened while they were there. So we saw in the beginning stories of them doing the prayer circle on the beach, and then this one says, I'm just a mom devoted to making the most of this life for myself and my family. Today I questioned how I got here. I got my answer at sunset after prayer circle. It's because I'll never stop dreaming bigger, not just for me, but all the women who want more. Now that we played that one, I'm gonna do the other one right away. The other one said, why I love my MONAT family, praying over our CEO while on an incentive trip in Tulum. Prayer circles are my favorite part. Blessing and praying over the owner of MONAT Official. And then there was the screenshot at the end. It says, hey girl, we're doing baptisms on the lounge beach to the right of pickup tomorrow at 9 a.m. Feel free to invite and send over anyone interested. And then the caption says, I teared up seeing this. Absolutely so beautiful. Praise God. Where two or more are gathered, there I am. Two are more powerful than one. This was an incentive trip to Tulum, a prayer circle, a prayer over our CEO, and a baptism. How great thou art, Lord. All right, so if you didn't watch my first video, I spoke about it briefly there. I'm not religious. If you are, I think that's great, and I support and respect anyone's religious or spiritual journey. But I do not ever want to avoid talking about this maybe uncomfortable topic of how often faith and religion is roped into and intertwined with MLMs. If you didn't see my first video, I believe it was the second reaction clip in that video about a Plexus rep being baptized at a retreat. I believe it was an incentive trip. I think it was in the Bahamas. Go watch that, and I kind of talk about it more there. But I know that it's maybe, I want to get better at being able to describe how I feel about this topic and to make sure that I'm being respectful, because I know that there's going to be people that watch this that are religious and that maybe also don't like how religion is intertwined with MLMs, and I just want to be sure that I'm saying properly my thoughts on this, that I'm not critiquing or even commenting about Christianity on its own or faith on its own, whatever religion or spiritual journey that people are following. It is that I feel it is highly unnecessary and highly concerning how often we see this in MLMs. The fact that there was a prayer circle with the CEO, for me, feels, I don't know a good adjective that also sounds respectful, but I think you can understand like maybe my thoughts on the matter, or you can kind of gather what I'm trying to say without, I'm trying. Like, I really don't want to offend anyone or upset anyone. And if you feel like I'm not talking about this in a polite or respectful manner, please do nicely tell me, because I really am trying. I don't ever want to come across as being critical of religion, but I just don't understand in what other business would it make sense to have a prayer circle around the CEO of the company. I mean, it's unheard of. And maybe for them, that's the point, that they're like, it is unheard of. And I don't agree with that. I want to be in a company that faith is important and that we do these things. So maybe if that's the opinion on that part of it, I can see how we would differ. But my issue is that it often feels like there is this faith manipulation that is so regularly brought into these companies that it's kind of hard to parse through them now. I feel like their arguments may not be, for me, it may not be met with fully understanding ears, am I saying that right? Because there has just been so many examples of using faith at these conventions, on these trips, for me, feels like making it seem like it's a faith-centered organization to keep you part of the business, to keep you, for lack of a better term, a little bit manipulated to believe that this is God's plan for you to be in this company. But for me, I don't think that God would want people to be scamming people. And it also just like, on a very, like, if we just back up, like if we just take a pause and just realize that this is a company that's just, like they always say, they kind of like make a joke of it, like this shampoo business, like it's just common in their posts, they kind of like poke fun of like, my shampoo business did this for me. If this is just your shampoo business, this seems out of place. Like, can you imagine this at Garnier, L'Oreal, Pantene? A prayer circle around the sea? I don't know who owns those companies, but am I making my point? It's just like it feels like a tactic to use spirituality and this promise of community of people that have the same values as you to keep people like emotionally invested and then more willing to stay, to keep buying and to keep recruiting. And with that, that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video. That is like a little bit different than what my plan is for the channel. But again, this trip just happened. I was kind of watching it unfold. I wanted to share the things that I saw. If you have any clips that you would like to share, I would be happy to get those. I don't have a way yet for people to send me stuff. I guess just maybe on Instagram. It's just Sarah JB Nelson on Instagram. It's the same username as YouTube. So if you had anything, feel free to send it over because wow, lot to unload, lot to unpack here. I hope that the video was helpful. I look forward to doing more reaction videos. If you like this video, please consider liking it, subscribing, and leaving a comment. It just kind of tells the YouTube algorithm that you liked the video and it just helps to support my channel. And with that, thanks guys so much. I appreciate it. Bye.